Hi, my name is Lara Rogedo and I'm a fashion designer, pattern making and sewing instructor from Brazil. In this video, I'm going to show you 2 ways to apply bias tape. The bias tape is a great finishing to many parts of the garment, especially raw edges. And you can buy a pre-made bias tape or you can make your own bias tape from any fabric you want. A bias tape is a strip of fabric cut on the bias grain that runs at a 45 degrees angle to the selvage of a woven fabric. This is the true bias. It is stretchy, so it's great to finish raw edges, specifically the curved ones. These are pre-made bias tape. You can notice that a pre-made bias tape is already folded and has 2 raw edges folded in. This part is the wrong side of the bias tape and this one, the plain side, is the right side. This is one of the ways you can fold and press the bias tape if you decide to make it from a specific fabric. I'm going to pick this one. Lay the bias tape on the fabric, right sides together. This is the right side of the fabric and this is the right side of the bias tape. Right sides together and unfold one of the raw edges of the bias tape. Unfold here and you can line it up to the raw edge of the fabric. And this one can be a neckline, an armhole, or even a hem. So I'm going to pin it here. You can leave a little bit and then you cut it to finish it. You can leave it longer than the end of the edge. I'm going to pin it and I like to baste it. When pinning and basting, do not stretch it. Do not stretch the bias tape. Just settle it on the cloth. Now that I know what I need, I'm going to cut it and baste it using only 1 thread to baste because it's a temporary stitch. It won't be here after machining it. So it will remain in place. You can notice that I'm taking the pins out. After basting, you don't need it anymore. You don't need them anymore. So I like to baste it using a different color, so it is easier for me to take the basting out after stitching it. Of course, you can choose a bias tape according to your fabric color. I'm just using a different color to show you. Okay, you don't need to lock it. Just make a smaller stitch here by the end. And now I'm going to stitch it. Now I'm going to machine it. You can see that I've basted it just on the crease line, but I'm going to sew it just by the side, just next to the crease line, 1 millimeter away from it, almost on it. You can sew it using a 2 or a 2.5 millimeter stitch length here. That's an average length. If you're sewing a sheer fabric, you may use a smaller stitch. But I'm going to use just a 2.5 one. Again, I'm using a blue thread just to show you in a better way, but you can use for a better result, for a good result, a thread matching your fabric, a matching thread. Again, while machining it, do not stretch the bias tape, just settle it on the fabric. I'm going to take the basting out. You can see that I've stitched just next to the basting, just next to the crease line. This is the first step when applying a bias tape. Then I'm going to show you two ways to apply it. The first one is you can fold everything over to the wrong side of the fabric, like this. So it won't show on the right side. Or you can fold it only halfway and use it as a decorative finishing. So this is the right side, this is the wrong side. When folding it, the crease will be actually at the right place, at the edge of the fold. Here and here. That's why I stitched it a little bit backwards. Of course, I need to make another stitch. I'm folding everything over to the wrong side, pinning. And I'm going to baste it again. This other bias tape fold is going to be the finishing. I love using this kind of finishing to necklines, armholes, to finish them. The whole garment stays flat and well done. Oh, another thing. When doing this to a neckline or armhole, even everything that is curved, when applying it on a curve, don't forget to nip the seam allowance. A nip is a small cut that stops almost at the seam line. So do not forget. This is very important when finishing any curve. You can make it in every 3-4 centimeters, 1.5 inch, one from another, especially when it's curved. It's not here, but I'm just showing you. Then I'm folding it over. I like pinning and basting again, so it will remain just the way I want it. Or you can also give it a good press. You can do both, actually. Now I've basted. So you can choose whether you're going to stitch on this side, on the wrong side, following this line, or on the right side. You can follow your bastings. So this is the result, how I finished this raw edge with a bias tape, a pre-made one. I'm going to make the other one. I have to fold it halfway so it will hide the first stitched line, okay? If you need, you can trim the seam allowance. Just be careful there. I'm going to trim it. Now I'm going to hide it. I like pinning on the right side and basting, so I'll make sure I'm going to sew the bias tape on the wrong side. I don't want to do that, for example. So, I want to make sure that everything here is going to be sewn. you can stitch just next to the crease line, actually to the fold here, or you can stitch inside the fold between the fabric and the bias tape, so it won't show. Okay, you can stitch here. This will make your stitch really discreet. I'm just going to stitch it next to the folded line. As I said, you can stitch here or here. I'm going to make the rest here the other way. And if you're making it using the same color as your bias, as your fabric, it's going to be almost invisible. Don't forget to give it a good press. I really hope that you liked this video. Please, if you liked it, subscribe to my channel, tapping the red button below the video, and leave me a comment. Tell me which ways you like the best. I'll love to read it. Thank you very much. See you in the next video. Bye bye.